Here we are, gentlemen, episode 1. Ducky Neptune.
We're Ducky Neptune.
Guys, how are you? Tell me what's going on in your world today.
I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on in Nashville with you guys right now.
What's going on in Nashville? Nashville, the hour just changed. We're really tired.
Oh, that's right. That's why it was a mess yesterday. It was the hour, the time change.
Yeah, everybody was 30 minutes late and then blamed the hour, but
Sure.
we all have automatic clocks in our pocket that change over.
Did you feel any effects from the time change?
I think I used it as an excuse.
Get
I
a
probably
little-
didn't really feel it.
What happens in the spring? We lose the hour? We gain the hour?
We lose. Yeah, we lose it.
Bullshit,
We're all
it's
losers
nonsense.
at the same
Spring
time.
ahead.
But one thing about Nashville is Nashville's coming alive.
Oh,
We're not
yeah.
going to see it tonight, but warmer weather's coming.
Everything will start blooming.
Daisy Dukes appear.
Oh, the sundresses.
Sundresses.
Man, oh man.
Yeah.
Tennessee in the springtime, like once the magnolias start blooming, gentlemen.
Yeah, right before it gets too hot.
And then everybody just, it's miserable
Yeah,
until
then it's-
October.
Yeah, that is terrible.
So let's talk about why we're here. Tell me about Ducky Neptune. Tell me about, what are you guys trying to say? If you had to just give me the simple answer, what are you trying to say?
Well, we're trying to say that we have a new album coming out called Insensitive Plastic,
It's hilarious.
which we don't really know what Insensitive Plastic is.
How did that come about?
Well, honestly, we all sat down with the music that we created
Mm-hmm.
and we wrote down a list and then we voted on the best title. And
Well, we each wrote down like 10 names,
I love it.
right? And
Do you remember any of the runner-ups that didn't make it?
Oh man, there were some bad ones. You had one that was like
well, the thing,
something 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, 6.
Oh
or
my gosh.
something.
Sure, a niner in there?
I said like Ducky Neptune, 3033, Extravaganza,
Okay.
Galore. I don't know.
There was a
Weird.
meaning behind it, you know. But it was kind of funny because I feel like you could look at the list, and even though we're like nobody say who wrote it down, like after looking at it long enough, you're kind of like,
You knew who wrote which one.
yeah. Or at least there was one of each one where you're like, that's yours, right? And it's like you can't say.
Yeah, and then we got to a
Yeah.
point where we were trying to defend the names, and then it became very apparent of who wrote it down.
I'm getting the feeling that you guys are interested in not taking yourselves very seriously, and I love that. There's an insincere element to like kind of how you went about doing that. Do you enjoy that part of it?
Yeah, I think that we try to be sincere, but not take ourselves too seriously.
Absolutely.
But we take the artwork sincerely, but titles don't really give the art any more value.
I can hear that.
Yeah, like the Sistine Chapel is a Sistine Chapel, but if it was called something else, it wouldn't be less or more art.
I like that explanation.
Not that we're making Sistine Chapels, but we did make a record, Insensitive Plastic.
Yes, full circle. Insensitive plastic.
And keeping the ego out of it as
That's
a
smart.
band, you know.
I
I
like
think
that.
ego kind of ruins it.
Now, I will say you need your ego to be your direction of your interpreter of whatever you want to say. That's kind of how we filter our story. That's how we say what we're saying is through the ego. But there's the egotistical part that is
Yeah, I
the thing
guess
that
that's
just
what I
people
mean, yeah.
that just ruins it for, especially for people that want to enjoy it. Something I love about the way you guys make music when you record is that it makes me want to hear you live. And I think that's something about albums in general that people forget. It used to be the reason we did it was so that you'd come to the show. You know what I mean? And playing live is like a huge part of what you guys love to do as well. What would you say is the problems you had to solve while you were recording this that maybe differs from things you find that are problems that you have to solve when you're playing live? Is there anything that jumps out right away that you can think about?
Well, it seems like more and more each day, music is like recorded. Well, we all use digital tracking systems,
Sure.
and a lot of times that allows for people to do like take after take after take, or like kind of create it in the DAW system. But we went to Muscle Shoals and recorded live off the floor for the entire rhythm section.
Amazing.
We did overdubs of lyrics and some leads.
Couple overdub guitar tracks for sure.
yeah, couple of so we layered some stuff in there, but the essence of it,
The body's live. The body's a one live
Yes.
recording.
yeah,
Everybody in one room.
yeah. And we're not the
Amazing.
only ones doing it, but it's something that we gravitate towards when listening to music. So of course you're gonna gravitate towards it when we're creating.
What about that live room sound really does it for you? Like, really is something you feel like you get from that sound versus, you know, a nice, polished, super clean, overproduced, you know what I mean?
I think it's just part of being in a band. Making music on your own, you can control everything and layer everything, but when you're in a band, it's like the two sides of, sometimes you're like, shit, maybe I don't like that, but other times you're like, I never would have thought of that.
For real,
and working
yeah.
through those problems ultimately to get what you create, especially in the studio, because you know we rehearse a lot, and in rehearsal, you know, you're kind of on each other's backs, like, that's not how we did it last time, that's not how we did it, you know, that's not how we're supposed to do it. But I feel like in the studio, that kind of, for some reason, like, evades us, and we don't really think like that's what you did last time. It's like you accept what's done because you like it, because it's a moment.
Yeah, what's happening now, rather than like, oh, how's it supposed to be?
And I guess that's hard too in the studio setting. You're just listening to the same thing over and over and over and making sure you get it just right and just the way you want it to be. Whereas in the spontaneity of it, when you're playing live, that's when you get to experience all the fun stuff and we've never done it this way, and it turns out to be something you really enjoy.
And I think that's like what's best about even seeing your favorite band, you know?
Yeah.
You see a band and you're like, that's not the record version.
Yes.
You know, was that intentional or was it not? Whatever it was cool.
Is there a moment you guys have like that where you tried something different and it really paid off for you that you can think about recently?
Definitely.
Yeah?
I mean, because we used our friend Braden heavily on the record, and he plays trumpet, and he's not playing with us live currently.
Okay.
I mean, if he's available, we'll have him. But there's a huge trumpet solo, and instead we're like moving it to guitar, and we're like changing some stuff dynamically, because live it doesn't really hit as hard as the record.
Okay.
So for instance, like going back into a chorus after a solo, live it just sounds good to kind of like end right there at that precipice, you know?
Absolutely.
Because of the tightness with this record, I think now our live show is like a little bit more fun, a little bit more like, because it's so tight from the core, we can get a little bit looser when it comes to playing live.
And that's the goal,
and
right?
put on a show, you know, rather than just be like guys performing songs for guys making music right in front of you.
And it shows too, when you know what you're doing, you can finally abandon them and just do what you need to do to get your point across. Which again, I'll come back to if you have any more you want to add to it. Tell me specifically with this, how many songs in this new album?
There are 6 songs with lyrics, and they're bookended by 2 instrumental sections.
And what?
Past and present.
Past and present?
Yeah, get it?
Oh, I
Past
love
at the beginning, present at the end.
Give me give me more. Tell me what you're trying to say. I guess that's the
back
the
to that
first
same question. Well, we kind of touch on like identities, so to speak.
Frustrations,
like cultural things. All 6 songs have somebody's name as the title.
Or
like,
a character.
So from Mary, Barbara, we have one Jamesy boy, Don Diego. They're all.
I like Don Diego already. I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
It's Western names. Like there's no.
That's great.
You know.
Which I didn't know. Originally, I was like, oh, let's name that. Let's write this song after like a jester. You know?
What do you mean when you say they're Western names? Like from Western movies?
No, like we don't have like 2
Western
like Western like American
culture.
American culture or
like Westerns?
Don Diego I think was a Spanish jester.
Oh, I
jester.
see. Yeah. I'm with you now.
But like more of the Western side of the world.
Gotcha.
Like there's no.
But I didn't know what Don Diego meant
Muhammad's.
at first. I was like, let's do a jester, and then a couple days later he came back. I had written the chords to that song, which is how we all end up with a lot of songs.
Say that again.
I'll write like the chords or something, and then
I'll
go to Josh and kind of play them.
Poetry or melody to it.
And sometimes he'll hit it right there, or sometimes he'll be like, let me hear that, let me record that.
Is that typical writing for you guys? That you'll usually have more of a lyrical sense to things?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Does that come pretty easily for you?
Lyrics?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own thing.
It comes with shutting off.
Explain that. I'd love to hear more about that.
It's the subconscious that I kind of let write. So we'll find the melody and then we'll kind of like scat. It's just like making up a song in the shower for anybody in the whole world. But
and you're good at moods. Like sometimes I'll give you a chord progression. I'll be like, I feel like this is like being stuck inside.
Yeah.
And then this guy just comes back. I'm like, oh, what?
Well, yeah, you kind of try to empathize.
I would have
So
written
what?
something terrible.
Yeah.
Stuck inside.
I would have literally
He's
written,
right.
I got stuck inside or something. And he comes back with something poetic about being, not even about being stuck inside, but the feelings there, you know?
And that's, you know what that is, we were talking earlier. The true artist is looking at many different things. Like we were talking about, you know, you're a carpenter too. True artists are multiple disciplinarians, and you have to be able to not just play it, but you have to be able to like understand the vibe of it. You know?
Yeah.
Common nomenclature of the word. The environment that you're in. You have to be able to describe it. And that is with tunes and lyrics too, of course.
Definitely. I mean, and yeah, that's kind of like what some of the messaging that we're trying to get across. Hey, we have these struggles, or we have this like thing that's going on in our lives, and instead we're going to create a character and develop this world and then tell a song through it. You know, so whether it's like struggling with getting a loan for a touring van, which anybody watching this podcast, if you can help us get a loan,
If you can
I
help
would
us
like
get a loan.
yeah. Or a van.
Or
yeah,
a
if
van.
you
van
can
would be great.
just show up with the van.
Yeah.
We got a van guy?
If you drive a van
Oh, does it count?
and you own a van, hit us up.
If you're trying to donate a van, the donation collection is very easy to find. www.
But you can come with the van. You can come with the van. You're welcome.
If you want to drive the van too, we're not going to pay you, but you're going to have a great time.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to pay you.
Yeah, we'll pay for gas. Half the time.
Do you want to tour this album?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, we only have one out-of-state show right now.
Mhm.
We're going up to Chicago.
When is the Chicago show?
April
15th.
April 7th.
7th.
April 7th. We're trying to do Cincinnati and do Indiana
Skyline Chili.
on the way back. Yeah,
Just
eat some
bring
chili.
Skyline Chili.
Climb all back into the van after eating just
You don't
chili.
know about Skyline?
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
They
we're
put it
gonna-
on the spaghetti noodles
Yeah, you get
with the
chili.
cheddar cheese and
on
Cincinnati,
about
a chili place?
You know it's about Skyline. Skyline Chili. But so forever, right? It's Greek. Did you know that?
Did not know that.
It's like moussaka. That's why it's got that little cinnamon, little sweetness to it.
Yeah.
Skyline Chili. Oh,
So-
Wait,
so
why
gross.
did it end up in Cincinnati? Is that a Cincinnati
It's
thing?
a Cincinnati thing. Skyline
Really?
Chili.
They have
No
it in
way.
Louisville, so we could probably get it on the way. You know?
Look, we're going to Cincinnati. We're having
Yeah,
it
we're
there.
gonna
We're
go.
not having it. We're not having Louisville.
Well-
By proxy.
Yeah,
I'm
our-
not
our
having
chili.
Our new van driver's going to take us to Cincinnati.
Yeah, and then
We'll
get us
stop
all
somewhere.
chili, and then lock 4 smelly dudes in
Yep.
the van after having Skyline chili.
It's
Sounds
called the hot
great.
box.
And that's how we gas up the van.
That's wah 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 wah.
Yeah, that
That's how
was.
we gas up the van.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It was bad.
Yeah, that was a bad joke.
That was pretty.
It was good. I mean, I'll give it to him. I just wasn't ready for it, frankly.
You shouldn't have been.
Any
First.
cities you really want to tour to, like, ideal.
Yeah, Sydney, Australia.
You're gonna need more than a van for that one. Why
The
Sydney for
UK.
you?
Why Sydney?
Mhm.
We actually, Shane has a lot of Australian friends. Sydney's just like probably the largest city that I know of in Australia.
Yeah, if you knew much more, you wouldn't say Sydney. Probably say Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne,
Yeah,
Australia.
there you go.
Let's switch. We can switch it to Melbourne if
Yeah,
you want.
switch
Yeah.
it to Melbourne. We'll edit
What
that
about?
out.
But still, why is that? Why Australia? You were right with that answer. Like, I want
Yeah,
to
it
play
was cool.
Australia.
Yeah, to go down under, man.
Wow.
You know?
Wow.
What?
I don't know. I mean, like, what's the draw? What's
Well,
you can pick
actually,
anywhere you want to play.
I
You were
played
so
rugby
quick.
in
Get down under,
college. I played rugby in college. And I had an Australian coach, and he was awful. His name was Nigel.
That's
You want to
really
find him.
his name was Nigel.
and track him
That's
down.
so cliche.
His name
And
was
give him
Nigel.
the
That cannot be
business.
more cliche. Are you making that
And
shit
then
up?
I told some Australians about how like my run-in with one Australian was awful because it was an awful rugby coach that was like way too much. Like,
And so the other Australians had been on a mission to prove him wrong.
and they
Like,
said
no, we're not like that guy.
they said
We're
Nigel
not all like
Nigel no friends is
Nigel, no friends.
what they, is what they immediately went to. I guess school children in Australia call the kid Nigel in class Nigel no friends, and it's
Oh
like
my
a
gosh.
ongoing joke. And I was like,
Okay,
yeah,
that's definitely offensive.
Like all kids named Nigel.
I think yeah,
Jeepers.
it's kind of like yeah.
Don't be named Nigel in Australia if you want to get with it.
If you want to have friends, yeah,
I mean, apparently.
I love you, Nigel.
yeah.
Do you know that this is another recent discovery for me? I'm so sorry, Australia. That you guys call AC/DC Akadaka. Do you know this?
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
It's a thing.
I've heard that. Yeah.
Akadaka is AC/DC.
Yeah,
Like,
Akadaka.
I'd like a Sunday called an Akadaka.
Akadaka, mate.
That sounds ridiculous.
It's out of control. Now, where's the city you are interested in playing?
I'd probably pick somewhere in the UK, maybe Manchester, or you know, those soccer fans are wild. You know,
Those soccer fans.
you get
are
some of
wild.
those at your you get
A footy
theater
fan?
theater filled with them at your show. You know, that's gonna be wild.
Someone's screaming.
Yeah,
Someone's screaming your name.
it's gonna be
Someone's
fun.
throwing a bra.
First show we ever played, a brawl just.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard about you guys. Is that like you hadn't even said hello and someone threw a bra right on stage.
Yeah, right.
Did
Hit me
happen.
right
Can't
in the
blame them.
face.
Can't blame them. Couple
It's
of handsome
never
fellas.
it never happened again.
Yeah, it happened once.
It did
That was
happen
it.
once.
He peaked early.
We peaked already. Yeah.
Before the first song, so you can see why it, before the first note was played. Then they were like, we're gonna keep them tied up.
Somebody
now.
throw a bra up there. Let's get these jokers off the stage. How about more local cities?
We want to capture the
You said
Southeast.
Chicago.
We want to do the Pacific Northwest. So Shane actually moved here from BC. He's originally from Toronto. Shane.
Yeah.
Love
Toronto.
Toronto. Queens West. Man, it's the neighborhood.
Nice
It's a
neighborhood.
jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. Him and I gravitated to each other. I moved from the North Carolina mountains. He was living kind of like in the Whistler area.
Gotcha. Mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vancouver.
And to really get back to those people, not like that culture. And then conversely, going to the beach.
It's the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I mean, those people love the music. They're just like, the only thing they would gravitate towards of a city is to be able to see live music, you know? Other than that, they're like,
Absolutely.
let's be in the mountains.
Because
But they
you
were
gotta
like,
think,
I love music.
What shows are going out there? I mean, now, obviously now, but I mean, even as little as 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
shows weren't going to other cities. I remember, honestly, I've been in Nashville for over 20 years, and there were big acts that just didn't like to come here. One that didn't was Tom Waits. He was just
Yeah.
like, I don't like playing in Nashville. You guys are a human metronome, and I don't have that good a rhythm.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they call it the Nashville stare.
It's the stare, it's the stance, it's the arm folded, it's the, hearing the flats and the sharps and the... That's what we do, though.
For those that are not from Nashville, there's a lot of musicians here.
There's
And
a lot of musicians.
it's so easy to get somebody in the crowd that's like, somebody's wailing on stage playing a guitar solo, and then 5 guys are up front stage, and they're like, I can do the same thing with my eyes blind.
Yeah, they're like, this is too much reverb.
yeah. They're sitting there
There's
thinking about,
always there's always the...
But you can't really ever have too much
You
reverb.
missed that note.
you can't ever have to. Like, it would be funny if in post you're like, you can't ever have too much reverb, and then.
Do you find that
That's
is
the
something
the
that
way.
is an annoyance, or something that you can use as a fuel, just being in a city where there's so much music and so many musicians?
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of living here is being surrounded by it, and then also creating this group. Like, we formed here in Nashville,
Love that.
and it was the fact that like we just happened to run into each other. I was moving out of a place, he was moving in, and it was like, oh, you play music, let's play sometime.
Amazing.
He was
Yeah.
like, I want to be your best friend. I was like, well, hold up.
Let's calm down. Everybody.
I'm still holding up. So, anyways,
Yes.
Yeah, you're my best friend now.
thanks. You're my only friend.
Thank you.
Nelson.
Yeah.
Nigel.
Nigel, yeah.
Yeah, Nigel has no friends.
Thought it was Nelson.
Yeah, Nigel. Yeah, and so we just had a show like a week ago, and all the guys are naming who they're gonna have out to the show, and I like look at the 4 dudes sitting around me, and I'm like, "You guys are coming, right? Like, you guys are the guys
You
I'm
guys are coming to the
inviting."
show, right?
I don't even know. We digress.
Well, let me ask you this too. I think it's an important question as well. What shows are you excited to see this summer?
Oof.
Damn. Idols. I've wanted to see them for a while now. They're coming. They came kind of just when things opened up in COVID,
Okay.
but that was probably like 2 weeks before I started getting into them.
And those first opened up shows were strange, and everyone
were,
was kind
yeah.
of on edge, and they were just.
Yeah, it was like,
I don't
if you
think
could
people
go-
could express as much as they wanted to.
Yeah, you were kind of like, if I go, some people are going to be like, nice, and some people are going to be like, you shouldn't have done that, you know?
The first show I saw after COVID was Tedeschi Trucks, which kind of
Nice.
ties into this because Shane just saw Tedeschi Trucks at the Ryman, and
First Ryman experience.
yeah, my first
Magical place.
post COVID was Tedeschi Trucks, but we're like sitting in these pods, and you weren't supposed to like intermingle with other people, which is a very strange thing at a show.
Very strange.
Yeah, but finally the world's opened back up, and not that we're creating mosh pits, but it'd be good to see a show that's so live that it's like you kind of want to grab your buddy and like shake him around.
What about you? What do you want? Who do you want to see?
What do I want to see? Jeepers creepers.
He's like Lizzo.
Is she doing this? It's funny you say that. No, but here's what I like. I like unapologetic artists.
Kanye.
And that doesn't necessarily have a genre. That is just people that are doing it and don't care who's there. And that's what interests me. I don't have to like it or want to listen to it while I'm running. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But especially when it comes to live shows, I want to have something that interests me.
But
let's circle back around. You've told me about your process. You've told me about what you like to hear. Where do you guys feel like you're going to tour this? What do you think the next 6 months to a year is going to be like for you? What would you like it to be? Dream ideal situation. Put it out into the universe so it'll come back.
we want to record again. We want to record more. Keep recording. Muscle Shoals is like calling.
Yeah.
I mean, something about people say it's crazy because we live in Music City and there's a million recording places here. But I think we go back to Muscle Shoals and what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a team, and we would love recording with Spencer Oates out of Muscle Shoals.
Yeah, I think ultimately touring too. I mean, definitely the creation of music's fun, but I feel like there's a lot of work that goes into being in a band and a lot of patience and a lot of, giving up things that you like in a song for somebody else. But ultimately, traveling the world and playing music together to a bunch of people who love what you're doing is...
And even that requires such a larger family of people to do that gig too,
Yeah, we're still...
I think that's the goal, to be like, that's the fun of it all, that's the part of like, you get to travel the world playing music with your best friends.
And growing our audience. I mean, 6-month goal and a forever goal is to just keep growing the audience, the family that's coming together. Because when people come to your show, it's their time off. Like, we're the ones working, but it's their time off. We want people to enjoy themselves and to repeat it.
I like that.
I want them to be like, that's good use of my time. Because everybody here, it's a great equalizer, is that we all have a limited amount of time, right? So if somebody's coming to see your show on their time off, then there's no greater thing that could ever happen is for them to repeat that
That's
same thing.
an amazing attitude that I
Right?
think you need to...
You need some more water, Charles?
An amazing attitude that I think that I don't hear a lot is that, like, you guys are paying money, you guys are spending your time to come see us. That's a really, really great attitude.
Yeah.
I like hearing that.
Not that everybody values their like off time as much as we do, because we're working around the clock for this
That's the other
thing.
thing.
But you hope that they do, and like I'm going to put value into their their off time,
Okay, this brings me to a very interesting question. Why am I coming to spend my time? Why am I filtering through the noise to hear you?
From an observational standpoint, I know that we're practicing more than most other bands. You know what I mean? And we have a unique sound.
This is true.
We really try to we're collaborative music, which is kind of like, you think that it would be more common today, but a lot of times you have people, they take like what I call a Tame Impala approach, where they have one composer that is relatively dictating the sound. We're instead trying to really use 4 minds to create one sound as much as we can. Sometimes some of us can be a little bit more domineering in the creative process, but you know how it goes.
I mean, I like good tone, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah.
It's all about tone.
Or were you speaking about
It's all
yourself?
about tone.
Yeah, were you speaking about yourself?
You know, we all have, like, that's the thing, is it's collective. So certain people are like, no, I really can't do that. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, so we try to meet in the middle. And that's not very common.
And the thing that has going for it too is when it's not safe, it's interesting.
Yeah.
When there's tension, it's interesting.
Of course. Yeah.
That's why I want to come see you, because you shouldn't get wild so fast. You never know.
Yeah, it can get wild. Like, we were just playing a week ago, and I was, like, really tense. And Shane just comes over and starts, like, nudging into me while I'm trying to, you know, sing and dance at the same time. But it was fun. It was, you know, it was like, hey, loosen up, buddy. We're here. We're doing the damn thing.
Do you find you're having to loosen him up?
I mean, honestly, it's, up until that gig, it's usually the opposite.
I was going to ask, yeah.
But we have been always, like,
That's right.
I'm such a stickler for, like, how tight we are.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of last few gigs we played, we've been so tight that I've kind of got lost and been like, yo, chill, dude. Like, we're good. You know? Whereas, like, in the past, sometimes at the beginning of our career,
like,
we were not tight.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, just chill. It's all good. I'm like, we sound like shit. You know, this is back when we were playing shows, you know, like at the beginning of any band. You're playing a show. It's like your third show. You're not good.
It's part of getting there.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, you're good. You're writing music, but you're not tight. You know?
Of course.
The tightness of a band is what people like, even though they don't know that's what they like.
Yeah.
At a show, you know?
When everybody, like...
It's a really good point. It's the
hits.
thing that they don't even know that they're enjoying is the practice that you put in.
Yeah, the flawlessness of it.
Yeah.
It's like butter, you know?
Ah, good Kerrygold Irish butter.
Oh, good butter.
That's good butter.
Great butter.
And so this is
Like
a podcast.
room temperature butter.
I'm
Just,
between two Irishmen.
You know?
Oh, yeah. Hey, that was great. Cheers. Cheers, gentlemen.
Also, Jameson, if you want to buy us a van.
Jameson, buy these blokes a dang old van.
If Jameson gave us a big green van that had Jameson written on the side of it.
Yeah, it's a good, giveaway.
A Jameson in the van instead of Jam in the van.
Look, don't try to make the whole ad campaign. Just look one thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Just be the singer.
Yeah, we're marketers as well.
And I want to ask one last thing before we wrap it up. This is the one I waited to do because it's a weird one, and no one really likes to do what if someone asks you, like, what do you guys sound like? It's the worst. It's the worst. But people are gonna ask you all the time.
I can tell you what this latest record sounds like.
Okay.
But what we sound like, hopefully, is forever evolving.
Of course. And you know what I mean.
Yeah. So we'll start off with, like...
I don't know what those hands were all about. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah.
No,
But
you really sent it there. Like, I know what you mean now.
As far as voices, we want to incorporate, like, four vocals.
Absolutely.
Probably me on lead. So that's that. And then we have electric guitar, held down by Shane. I'm playing bass. Really, don't really put much effect on the bass. Just bass. Keyboardist that plays a Nord, which has a variety of tones. And then a drummer that loves everything from the
Drums.
Beatles.
Bang, bang. He's like Animal from Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. He loves everything from, like, I don't want to say math rock, but, like...
I mean, he's like, I feel like he likes what drummers like, drum band, like, I feel like drummers are always like, I love Led Zeppelin and Rush and the Foo Fighters.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
How could you not? Those bands are all, you listen to those bands, you're like, the drums are unreal.
Also loves the Beatles. So, Ringo. He's our Ringo.
I like how you decided to answer that, where you were just like, I'm just going to tell you what's in our band.
Yeah.
That's much better. It's a great answer.
More specifically, this album, our keyboardist also plays saxophone. Ari Fine plays saxophone as well. And with that, we're like, all right, let's beef it up. Let's get the trumpet. So our good friend Braden came along and put the trumpet on. So there's also, like, this soul aspect that
And Muscle Shoals, I mean.
Yeah, it's Muscle Shoals. There's so many
course.
soul records that were hit there.
Which we didn't. We did have the horns going before
How
we
long were you there
decided.
for?
In Muscle Shoals? 5 days?
5 days.
But a lot of hours. Wow.
Yeah, we definitely put over 60 hours in the studio
Amazing.
in the 5 days. Compositionally, kind of psychedelic.
Excellent.
Tonally, kind of surf rocky. Shane used a lot of delay.
Reverb.
I think you said earlier, there's never enough reverb.
There's never enough. I mean, you could never be in a big enough room.
I like the moon reverb. You know?
Right? Infinity is key.
Yes.
And then the horns and the Muscle Shoals makes it soul. So we've been calling it Psychedelic Surf Soul.
I love it.
But ultimately, like, if somebody put on Dreams by Fleetwood Mac, I wouldn't know what to call it. If somebody put on, like, you know, so many of our favorite records, we'd be like, it's rock and roll.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, it's what we know. We've been told it is, I suppose.
Yeah. So.
And what are you listening to right now? Like you said, there's a whole lot of noise. There's got to be something that's catching your ear.
Top 3 bands? What are you listening to, Josh?
No, I mean, like, currently I'm listening to.
What were you listening to earlier today?
I've been listening. My dad's from Honduras, and we're Black Caribbean, tribe called the Garifunas, and I've been listening to a Garifuna artist.
Amazing.
Shout out.
On repeat, Aurelio. I've been listening to, and it's like good because I don't know the language, so because he's speaking in Garifuna, with like bits of Spanish and English, I can like gather what things are about, but ultimately it's
How
like
amazing is
I
that?
can kind of like send emails and work on the website and all this stuff with that kind of in the background,
Love that.
you know. But it's been on repeat constantly. Anything you've been spinning?
Oh, I mean, I'm fortunate. I don't have, I'm a carpenter during the day, so I get to listen to music all. I work by myself, you know.
That's doubly.
So it's pretty
even
much
more
just
interested.
music
Like,
all
what are you
day.
listening to?
But lately, there's a lot. I feel like I just saw Tedeschi Trucks. I've been listening to a lot of Derek Trucks, which is like I mean, I don't play slide guitar, but it's always nice to be able to hear how somebody plays their instrument in a different way. You know,
Of course.
he doesn't play it in any traditional kind of way, so it's kind of cool in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good music coming out of the UK these days. Fontaine's DC.
Yeah.
Listen to a lot of their music.
Wonder Horse.
Wonder Horse is great.
I saw them open for Fontaine's and was like blown away. I was like, man, these guys.
Here in town.
Yeah, it's
There's just
rock
an
and roll.
energy coming out of the younger bands in the UK that I feel like's not as dominant right now in the US and in the younger rock and roll bands. It seems like there's a little bit more energy coming out there.
Something in that water over there, man.
Yeah,
Something
in that rain.
in the whiskey.
Something in the whiskey.
But yeah.
What about yourself? What do you got?
What have I been listening to?
What are you spinning?
Jeepers. Well, so there's this app called Radio.
Yeah. I was gonna ask if you're
It's Radio with 4 O's. Yes! So it is this app, and you're given a map of the Earth and timeline from 1900 until now. And you click any country at any time period you want. And I'm particularly fond of the psychedelic rock that came out of Nigeria in the 1970s, specifically Fela Kuti. And that's usually, when you see me bebopping up and down the streets of Nashville, that's usually what I'm listening to.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that app too, if you haven't gotten it.
I've never heard of that. That sounds pretty.
Now, here's the
cool.
only downside. You hit Iceland of any time period, and it's Bjork, because she's 450 years old. But, you know,
She is good.
she's been making music for a long time.
Yeah.
my dream is to sit down at a restaurant and you just open up the menu and
And
it's
it's
an
Bjork.
it's
all
no,
Bjork.
no, it's an
Oh.
atlas and you can just like pick like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I'm feeling Japanese. And then like you get the dish that's
Like
Japanese.
a digital
Like
menu?
some Jetson style.
Yeah, people.
Like a digital or like a
Got it.
paper atlas?
And then a Japanese chef just shoots up out of the counter
Okay,
in front
it's
of you.
digital. It's got to be digital.
Yeah, no, but it would be cool if you sat down at a restaurant, open it up, it's an atlas, bam. You can get a turnover from Poland. You can get like your little pierogi,
Oh, those are delicious. Huh?
or you can get an empanada.
Those two are they're kind of very similar.
Mhm.
Every
Right.
country's got that like
Turnover.
starch, fill it,
Yeah.
fire it, send it out, sauce it.
Exactly.
Fry it.
And the best person to make
America,
it.
fry it.
Yeah, grandma makes it, with her grandma's hands,
A lot of music on the horizon. It's going to
Bill
be a great
Withers.
summer. Well,
Um,
I think we did great, guys. And I just want to say thank you for spending a little time and telling us about where you're going, telling us about all your adventures. Any last thoughts?
Thank you for having us.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Drinking Jameson?
Yeah, for the van, dude.
For the van.
Jameson, get us a van.
Jameson, get us
Yeah.
a van. Get
us a van.
If anyone knows anything about Ducky
No,
Neptune,
I thought you were going to
if anyone knows anything about Ducky Neptune, we definitely like to pass around the
Oh,
Jameson.
man. We didn't even do the number one, where did your name come from?
Oh,
Number
shit.
one question.
Are we
Well,
rolling right
It's
now?
kind of funny that it's at the end, but why not,
Josh,
Hey, guys, tell me.
the interviewer got scared of asking a question, so he asked
know,
another
I-
question.
Dude, I don't.
Explain.
Where does the name Ducky Neptune come from?
The year is.
I
Serious
love
answer?
it.
Yeah, man, tell him the truth. Give them the truth. I just pulled the mic out of my bad.
Just snorted.
Ducky Neptune.
Give them the truth.
Where does that come from? Well, it's an ode to Freddie Mercury. Not that I
already?
am Freddie Mercury, which he always hates that I even state that. We were trying to start a band with our good buddy, Joey,
Okay.
and he had this idea to name it Easy Burrito. And I was like, if we're
Well-
gonna be called something so silly,
Well, okay.
yeah, which is okay. It's like, what's in a name? If we're gonna be called something so silly, I'm gonna go by Ducky Neptune.
That was your rebuttal to Easy Burrito?
Yeah, like Freddie Mercury was in Queen. His name
And
was not.
I'm
His
gonna
name
go-
isn't Freddie Mercury, but he was like, I'm gonna go by Freddie because his middle name is Frederick. I was like, I'm gonna go by Dougie Neptune. Right. Well, he kept going Ducky Neptune. I was like, no, Dougie.
Dougie.
And he goes Ducky Neptune.
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
see.
no, dude, Dougie Neptune. And he goes Ducky Neptune. Right.
So he was kind of being a little...
Facetious.
Bow, 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 bow. I see. And
Definitely.
you were giving him the business, and then...
And then Shane and I were like, we can't be with this guy anymore. He's ridiculous. He's always so facetious. But anyways, no, we got serious. We got serious about just writing music together, and then we're like, we should name this something. And we're like going through the
Oh
loop.
man, you know band's bullshit. Like
Yeah.
naming a band, it's like
Hey, bartender, 20 years in Nashville. Do you know how many band names I've heard?
top 3.
Oh. Come back to that.
Okay.
But continue.
But it's like we're
Modest.
sitting there and we're thinking like, oh, like in a way too serious way, like what does this mean? What would people think of this band name? But then it's like, do you think anyone like in the late 80s was like, oh, like friends of Anthony Kiedis would have been like, you're the Red Hot Chili Peppers? That's a terrible name.
Yeah.
10 years later, like that name's unreal.
All the names at
like
conception
they're stupid
seem
Yeah.
strange.
until
What
there's
is-
merit to the name, and then you're like, wow, that name's awesome.
A lot of our favorite bands.
But definitely when we started out, so many of my friends were like, Ducky Neptune, why?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm like,
Creedence.
I don't know.
Creedence Clearwater Revival, Modest Mouse. We were talking earlier. Fleetwood Mac.
Mhm.
You've got Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd. The list goes on. It's like I don't know what any of that is.
Rainbow Kitten Surprise. That's
Yeah.
great band. But
Actually,
that name.
they're from where I moved from.
That's
Boone,
right.
Boone, North Carolina. So shout out Boone.
So it's ironic because in an attempt to give an identity to the project or people in the thing that we're doing, then we create a name that has absolutely nothing to do with
Nothing.
anything.
It kind of matches the Neptune to go into space. Well, sometimes we take it there and we're filling space. I mean, all music is, but we're filling silence. And sometimes it sounds kind of extraterrestrial, so to speak.
Tesla, buy these guys a van. Buy them a Tesla van from
Yeah.
space.
Tesla van.
A SpaceX van.
SpaceX man.
collaborate
can
with
land
Jameson.
like this.
I mean, Amazon's got a lot of vans. They could
They
just
got a lot of
fork
vans.
one up.
They sure do.
What if they got into like the van delivery service? 2 vans.
What
show
if
up.
Amazon was like, "We'll give you a van for your tour, but you got to deliver packages along the way."
That could actually be a business.
I
That's
mean,
not a bad idea.
Especially like
Honestly.
there's 4 of us there's 4 of us. That's 4 capable drivers. We'd have 4
because
Amazon
you'd never
vans.
sleep. That
And
van would be
if you're in a
rocket.
band, let's like someone could be, if you had multiple deliveries on one street, you know, Josh could drop me off. I could run up to the door. He could be taking Ari to the next house, and I could be running and jumping on. We get a little
And then
trailer
7
going.
p.m. mic check. Here we go.
Yeah, and we just made,
Hello,
you know,
Cincinnati.
we just
Hello,
paid rent.
Cincinnati.
How's
Yeah.
your skyline tonight?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's look into this, guys.
Yeah. And then when only 6 people come to our show, we can, you know, still
Yeah.
pay the bills.
And then we can be like, "Thank you, Brenda. I hope you're enjoying your new food processor that I dropped off
Yeah.
today."
Yeah, it's free marketing along the way.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Slap a sticker on the side of the
Uncovered
package.
a whole new
Yeah.
money-making scheme.
I used to work in a kitchen, and the chef said, "How do you get a musician to come to your house?" And I said, "How?" And he goes, "Order some pizza." "How do you get a musician to leave your house?" And I was like, "How?" And he goes, "Pay for the pizza."
Ba 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 ba. That's so true.
In
That's-
Nashville for sure.
That's very Nashville. The thing I didn't understand about Nashville when I first moved here is it's LA for it's you know everybody that's working in the food service industry is you know an aspiring songwriter, artist. You know
Mhm.
all the artists that come here. You know, and I tell them the same thing. My advice from the bar side, like write music. Don't try to be an artist. Write.
Yeah. And
Don't
don't
try to be an
over
actor,
and don't
just write.
overshare with your bartender.
Don't overshare because I know all your secrets.
Yeah. Which we can circle back to now.
Oh yeah.
3 band names.
All right,
Or
one
artist
one that we all know, and I just think it's super super clever, and they're here. I think pretty sure they're from here. Is Thelma and the Sleaze is just
It's good.
Yeah.
name.
mwah, everything about that is
Great
fantastic.
name.
Another actual band that's still around that I got introduced here. Saw a show here for the first time was Diarrhea Planet. My God, that is just some kind of balls to name what you're going out into the world with. We're Diarrhea Planet, and you're gonna stick with it. Oh,
That
you
is
got to
great.
tip the cap to that name.
Yes.
And honestly, one of the guys that I first worked with, another fellow bartender, he's now a professor at Belmont College. He's a professor of theory, amongst other things. And his band, when he was playing, still love it, the Carter administration.
That's
The
cool.
most underthought of political administration in this country's history, other than
Yeah, I mean, I'm Canadian,
Habitat
so that
for
slips by
Humanity.
me, you know. I'm Canadian. I'm just
Ladies
like,
and gentlemen, the
sounds
Carter
cool.
administration. Todd, love you guys. Yeah, those are some 3 great ones for you.
That's cool. I mean, you must hear a lot of. Do you ever hear like musicians just sitting at the bar, just
All the time. 25 years. All the stories. That's a
yeah.
whole nother. That'll be episode 2. That'll be episode 2 of the podcast.
And
All
3,
the
4,
stories.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And yeah.
Cool.
Alright.
Well, yeah.
Thank you for having
Cheers,
us.
boys. This
Thanks.
was so much fun.
Thank you,
Thank you
Charles.
guys very much.
Good luck in all your endeavors.